I remembered when I registered for the 2020 Lagos City Marathon online, I basically told no one what I was planning to do. I only told my wife and my brother, and as far as they were concerned, it was something more of what I would love to do and not what I was actually going to do. In fact, it wasn't until I started training, going on my road runs, that some of my friends found out I was intending to run the marathon. During that period, I chose to practice something called selective ignorance. While it is great to shout our dreams from the rooftop and to share our dreams, our goals, our plans with people around us so that we can attract the kind of help that we need to achieve those goals, it's also very important that we are wary of how we do this and with whom we share those things that really matter to us. Because here's the thing, the wrong information or too much information can stop a goal, can stop a plan before it even has the chance to take off, before it even has the chance to develop. Especially in this day and age where there is information overload, we are hit left, right and center with all forms of information. It's very, very important that if we are going to be high performers, we are going to be top achievers, that we learn to practice that thing called selective ignorance. The truth about it is, not every post on social media, not every blog post, not every piece of news on the TV concerns you or concerns me. If we keep giving our entire focus and attention to everything that appears on our timeline, to everything that pops up as a notification on our phone, what happens is that we end up having no focus and attention to give to those things that really matter. And I strongly believe that this is one reason why many of us don't take those steps that we know we need to take our lives to a whole new level. Because what has happened is that we have allowed ourselves to get overwhelmed by distracting, irrelevant and unnecessary information. And in some cases where the information is actually necessary and relevant, what now happens is that we've allowed ourselves to take on too much of that information. So we spend all our time analyzing, reanalyzing, over-analyzing, and end up not taking any actual step that will move the needle of our lives. Because the thing is, there will always be people out there who wants to tell you, do this 1001 things to help you pick a pin from the floor. 1001 ways to design a CV, 1001 ways to put together a contract proposal, 1001 ways to run a marathon. But we need to get to the point where we ask ourselves that, is it about the ways to achieve that goal or about actually achieving the goal? If it's about running the marathon, the way to do it is to hit the road running. As you run, then you can now adjust your technique and your strategy. But the important thing is to put in the work. Because it doesn't make sense to gather all the knowledge, to gather all the information, and to end up doing nothing with it. For me, I believe that it's better to know a little and then take massive action than to know a lot and end up doing nothing. And that's what it is, that we are careful not to get into analysis paralysis. I remember that's the way somebody put it, that over-analysis can lead you into paralysis of inaction, right? A very lovely play with words. But you know, that's eventually what happens because we have taken on too much information. I particularly like the way Arnold Schwarzenegger puts it. He says that turning off your mind is an art. Turning off your mind is a form of meditation. Knowledge is great. Knowledge is important. Knowledge is important for decision making. The more you know, the more you are able to rely on your instincts. But he talks about the fact that in some cases, some people allow their knowledge to get in their way and allow them not to take the necessary steps that they need to take. For them, the more they know, the more they hesitate. When we don't trust our decision-making process, it slows us down. He goes on to say that overthinking, overanalyzing is the reason why some people can't sleep at night. Their minds are racing and they can't shut it down. They have allowed overthinking, overanalysis to cripple them. So this simply tells us that while thinking is good and great, overthinking can shut a project down, can shut an idea down before that idea even has a chance to even develop its wings and to even run, first of all, then develop wings and then take to flight. You know, it's just like that inspiring story of the bumblebee. Scientists say the bumblebee's body is too heavy and its wingspan too short. So aerodynamically, the bumblebee shouldn't be able to fly. But here's the interesting thing. The bumblebee has no idea about that. So it goes ahead and flies anyway. And that's just what it is, that when we don't know the limitation that we have, we actually go out there and surprise ourselves. And at the end of the day, in hindsight, we begin to wonder if we had any limitation in the first place. And then we realize that the only limitation is the limitation we place on ourselves. And that we must be careful not to allow education place limitations on us. That's the way someone put it. And so for me, that's just so instructive and so important, that at the end of the day, it's about trusting yourself. If we are going to be that high flyer, that high performer that God has created us to be, if we are going to be top achievers, if we are going to take those steps necessary to take our lives to a whole new level, we need to trust ourselves. We need to trust our ability to figure things out. We need to trust the decisions we make. We need to trust that the decisions that we make is or are the very best decisions we could have made at the time based on the information that we had. And that each and every one of those decisions will eventually connect and come together to make our lives a grand and a beautiful picture.